Well, hi, AI, and welcome to the podcast. Today, let's discuss the mystery behind how the pyramids were exactly built. Do you have the answer for us?
Thanks for having me on the podcast to discuss such an intriguing topic.
Of
The
course.
construction of the pyramids, especially the Great Pyramid of Giza, is indeed one of history's most enduring mysteries. While we may not have a single definitive answer, years of research and archaeological discoveries have provided us with a pretty good understanding of how these monumental structures might have been built. The ancient Egyptians built the pyramids as tombs for their pharaohs and
Mhm.
high-ranking officials. The construction of the Great Pyramid, which was built for Pharaoh Khufu around 2580 to 2560 BCE, is particularly fascinating due to its massive scale and precision. Most Egyptologists believe that the pyramids were constructed using a combination of skilled labor and sheer manpower. Workers would quarry limestone blocks, which were then transported to the construction site. Theories on how these blocks were moved include the use of wooden sledges pulled over sand and lubricated with water to reduce friction, as well as the possibility of a system of ramps to transport the stones to higher levels as the pyramid grew. One of the more recent theories suggests that a spiraling ramp was built inside the pyramid, allowing workers to carry stones to the higher levels without the need for long, straight ramps that would have required an enormous amount of material and space. As for the
Let me jump in there real quick. How heavy would one pyramid block be?
The weight of the blocks used to construct the pyramids can vary quite a bit, depending on their intended use within the structure. On average, the limestone blocks used in the pyramids weigh about 2.5 tons each. However, some of the larger blocks, especially those used as ceiling slabs in the king's chamber within the Great Pyramid of Giza, can weigh as much as 50 to 80 tons. This variation in block size and weight adds another layer of complexity to understanding how the ancient Egyptians were able to transport and position them so precisely during construction. The logistics of moving these heavy stones remains one of the most impressive aspects of the pyramid's construction.
So, where do these stones come from? Did they pull these stones from like around them, or did they have to like go long distance to retrieve them?
The stones used in the construction of the pyramids came from various sources, depending on their type and intended use. For the main structure of the pyramids, the majority of the limestone blocks were quarried locally. The Great Pyramid of Giza, for example, was primarily built using limestone quarried from the Giza Plateau itself, where the pyramid stands. This proximity greatly facilitated the transportation of these massive blocks to the construction site. However, for the finer, high-quality limestone used in the outer casing of the pyramids and the interior chambers, the ancient Egyptians sourced the stones from Tura, located on the east bank of the Nile. These stones would have been transported across the river using boats. Additionally, the inner chambers of the Great Pyramid contain large granite blocks, which were transported over a much greater distance. These granite stones were quarried in Aswan, located about 500 miles south of Giza. Transporting these heavy blocks from Aswan to Giza would have been an incredible feat, involving river barges and a complex system of ropes and sledges. This combination
Okay, let's take a look at that. 500 miles away, and you're saying how do we know if they transported the stone of granite um like in pieces and then assembled it? I mean, or did it have to come in certain pieces to then what's speculated there? Just got to dive deep on this one. We're getting deeper, guys. We're getting deeper on this. Challenging our guest here with these high level or not high level but in depth questions.
The granite blocks used in the construction of the pyramids, particularly for the king's chamber in the Great Pyramid of Giza, were transported in large single pieces from the quarries in Aswan to the construction site in Giza. It's a fascinating aspect of ancient Egyptian engineering and logistics. Here's how it's believed to have been done. 1. Quarrying. The granite blocks were first quarried in Aswan. Ancient workers would have used a variety of tools, including dolerite balls to pound out the granite, and then likely wedges and levers to separate each block from the bedrock. 2. Transportation. Once quarried, the blocks needed to be transported to the Nile River, which was itself a challenging task that likely involved sledges and perhaps rollers. The ancient Egyptians were skilled at moving heavy objects over land in this way. 3. River barge. The granite blocks were then loaded onto large wooden barges for the river journey north to Giza. The Nile River was the ancient Egyptians' main transportation route, and its annual flooding provided a natural means to move heavy materials. The flow of the river would have helped in moving these heavy loads. 4. Unloading and moving to the site. Upon arrival near Giza, the blocks were unloaded and again transported overland to the pyramid construction site. This final leg of the journey would have again involved sledges with the possible use of ramps or other means to maneuver the stones into place. The granite.
So really quick, two questions really. How much weight can the ships or the boats, whatever they used back then, hold without sinking? And my second question is, how many people would it take to lift up or move around those stones once trying to put them in place for building the pyramid? I mean, right, guys? I mean, you got to think about that. How many people were involved? How much weight how heavy were these things?
The capacity of ancient Egyptian boats or barges to carry weight without sinking would have varied depending on their size and construction. However, some estimates suggest that these vessels could carry loads of up to several tons. The barges used for transporting the large granite blocks from Aswan to Giza would have been specially constructed for such heavy loads, possibly able to carry upwards of 50 to 80 tons, considering that some of the granite blocks used in the pyramids weigh as much as that. These boats were made of wooden planks, tightly bound together, designed to be both sturdy and buoyant enough to manage such significant weights. As for the number of people required to move these massive stones, estimates vary based on the method used for moving them. It's thought that moving a 2.5-ton limestone block could require a team of about 20 to 30 workers. For the heavier granite blocks used in the construction of the pyramid's inner chambers, the number would be significantly higher, possibly requiring hundreds of workers. These workers would use a combination of physical strength, ropes, sledges, and wooden rollers, along.
How many people would you say worked on these pyramids? Yeah. And I also want to figure out how long it took.
Estimates of the number of workers involved in building the pyramids, particularly the Great Pyramid of Giza, have varied over the years based on archaeological evidence and historical records. Consensus among many Egyptologists today suggests that the workforce might have been around 20,000 to 30,000 people. This includes not just the laborers who directly moved and placed the stones, but also the vast support network of artisans, architects, engineers, and workers involved in logistics, such as supplying food, water, and materials, and those who set up camps and facilities to support the massive labor force. It's important to note that this workforce was well organized and skilled, with many workers likely being seasonal laborers who worked on the pyramids during the flood season when agricultural work was not possible. Recent discoveries, such as workers' tombs found near the pyramids, suggest that the laborers were not slaves, but rather paid workers who took pride in their work on the pharaoh's monument.
Debatable.
This workforce was divided into teams and groups, each with specific tasks and responsibilities, demonstrating a sophisticated.
Okay, yeah, I'm sure they definitely were doing what they're supposed to. How long did it take just one pyramid to go from nothing to completion. And 30,000 people, how much food is needed a day to feed that many people? I'm curious. I mean, it's a lot of mouths to feed.
The construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza, which is the oldest and largest of the three pyramids on
Mm-hmm.
the Giza Plateau, is believed to have taken about 20 years to complete.
That's it?
This estimate comes from historical records, including those by the Greek historian Herodotus, and archaeological findings that support a construction period within the reign of Pharaoh Khufu, for whom the pyramid was built, around 2580 to 2560 BCE. Feeding a workforce of 20,000 to 30,000 people was indeed a monumental task in itself. It's estimated that such a labor force would consume a significant amount of food daily, including staples like bread and beer, which were part of the ancient Egyptian diet. Additionally, they would have eaten onions, garlic, fish, and occasional meat
Okay.
like beef and poultry.
Very,
To
very
give a rough
possible then.
estimate of the food requirements, consider that each worker might need at least a couple of pounds of bread and a few liters of beer each day, along with other foodstuffs. This would mean producing tens of thousands of pounds of bread and thousands of liters of beer daily, not to mention other foods. Archaeological evidence, including remnants of bakeries and breweries found near workers' camps, suggests that large-scale food production facilities were established near the pyramid construction sites to meet this demand. The logistics of supplying, preparing, and distributing food to such a large workforce would have required sophisticated organization and resources, underscoring the complexity and efficiency of ancient Egyptian society during the pyramid building era.
Is it a coincidence? Because obviously these pyramids were first before, let's say, the Mayan pyramids, right? That we know of. Or am I wrong? Coincidence based on their
Yes, you're
structure.
correct. The Egyptian pyramids, particularly those at Giza, were built well before the Mayan pyramids. The Great Pyramid of Giza, for example, was constructed around 2580 to 2560 BCE during Egypt's fourth dynasty. In contrast, the Mayan civilization flourished much later, with most of their pyramid construction occurring in the first millennium CE, around 250 to 900 CE, during the classic period of Maya civilization. The temporal gap between the construction of the Egyptian and Mayan pyramids is significant, spanning thousands of years. Despite this,
Sorry, go ahead. I cut her off.
no need to apologize at all. Exploring these topics is fascinating, and it's perfectly normal to have questions or seek clarification.
We got
If there's
questions.
anything more you're curious about, or any other topic you'd like to dive into?
Well, I cut you off there. I don't know what your point was going to be, but I was wondering, do you think that whoever was building the Mayan pyramids saw the Egyptian periods and got inspiration from that, or perhaps those pyramids must have been so well known over those years, hundreds of years, from depictions of drawings or paintings, whatever. Possibly they took inspiration from those pyramids to build their Mayan pyramids close in that same structure style.
The idea that the Mayan pyramid builders might have been inspired by the Egyptian pyramids is a fascinating speculation. However, most historians and archaeologists agree that there's no direct evidence to suggest that the Mayans were influenced by the Egyptians in their pyramid construction. The development of pyramid structures in these two civilizations is generally considered to be a case of convergent evolution in architecture, where similar forms were independently developed because they represented stable, durable structures that could reach significant heights. Several factors support the idea of independent development. One.
Okay, I think we got the point on that. Sorry, I was leading off the path there, off track, as far as the pyramids. So you're bringing up facts that it was very possible for those pyramids to be done by human hand and to be brought over by, what do they call it? To be brought over from those areas, even though they were 500 miles away. You're saying it's all possible because speculators or conspiracists would theorize that they had to have had some ancient technology to accomplish that. That's the rumor. That's the theory, the conspiracy behind these pyramids.
Absolutely. The construction of the pyramids, both in Egypt and in Mesoamerica, has been a subject of fascination and speculation for centuries, leading to various theories, including those suggesting the need for ancient advanced technology or even extraterrestrial intervention.
She brought it up.
However, extensive research, archaeological evidence, and historical studies support the conclusion that these monumental structures were indeed constructed by human hands using the technology and knowledge available at the time. The ancient Egyptians and Mayans were highly skilled and resourceful, with a deep understanding of mathematics, astronomy, and engineering.
That's crazy.
They developed ingenious methods to overcome the challenges of constructing these massive structures. 1. Leverage and tools. They used simple but effective tools and methods, such as levers, ropes, and wooden sledges, to quarry, transport, and place heavy stones. 2. Organization and labor. Both civilizations,
whether we like it or not, it was probably just a simple thing, and it probably just took time.
Skilled laborers, artisans, and engineers. The workers were well fed and cared for, suggesting a highly organized society with the capacity to undertake such massive projects. 3.
Do you think that possibly the work ethic was different back then, as far as like taking the time to ensure that every stone was pointed perfectly straight from north, south, east, and west, as they say? I mean, you gotta think. As much time as they had to come up with math and direction, so did we.
Absolutely. The work ethic and attention to detail in ancient construction projects like the pyramids were remarkable. The alignment of the pyramids, especially the Great Pyramid of Giza, with cardinal points north, south, east, and west, with such precision, underscores a level of dedication and precision that was truly extraordinary. Several factors contributed to this work ethic and meticulousness. 1. Cultural and religious significance. The pyramids were not just royal tombs, they were also deeply symbolic, representing the pharaoh's divine status and their journey to the afterlife. This religious and cultural significance likely motivated workers and artisans to achieve a level of perfection fitting for their gods and kings. 2. Pride in craftsmanship. The builders were skilled laborers, artisans, and engineers who took pride in their work. They were part of a sophisticated society that valued and honored their contributions. Yep. This pride in craftsmanship drove them to ensure that every aspect of construction was executed with care and precision. 3. Advanced knowledge and planning. The ancient Egyptians had advanced knowledge of mathematics and astronomy, which they used to plan and align the pyramids with astronomical phenomena.
How did they exactly? This might be our last point here. How exactly did they come upon the advancement in mathematics?
The advancement in mathematics among ancient civilizations, including the Egyptians, emerged from practical needs and intellectual curiosity, leading to significant contributions to the field of mathematics. The Egyptians, in particular, developed mathematical skills that were sophisticated for their time, driven by various factors. 1. Agriculture and flooding. The annual flooding of the Nile required precise planning to manage agricultural lands and irrigation. This necessitated a basic understanding of geometry for measuring and dividing land, which spurred the development of mathematical concepts. 2. Architectural and construction needs. The construction of monumental structures like pyramids, temples, and tombs required advanced architectural design and planning. The Egyptians developed a system of measurements, understanding of geometry, and ways to calculate volumes and areas to aid in these constructions. 3. Astronomical observations. Their observations of the stars and planets for religious and calendrical purposes led to the development of a lunar calendar and the need for mathematical calculations to predict astronomical events and maintain the calendar.
So you would agree, or you're alluding to the fact that they, let's just say they decided to make this big triangular uh, pyramid, and maybe they already knew their math and stuff before that. But you're saying that one of the best ways to almost to learn or to develop a skill is to just come up with an idea and go forward with it, and then based on that, you have to find the solutions along the way. You know, you almost have to put something into existence for things to then happen. Is what I'm trying to ask here, and I think you're saying that the Egyptians understood that.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it. The process of envisioning and then building something as monumental and complex as the pyramids likely pushed the ancient Egyptians to refine and expand their mathematical and engineering knowledge. The challenges they encountered during construction would have necessitated innovative solutions, leading to practical advancements in mathematics, engineering, and architecture. When faced with a significant challenge, whether it's building a pyramid, designing a bridge, or even creating new technology today, the necessity to solve complex problems can drive innovation and deepen understanding in a way that theoretical study alone may not. In the case of the pyramids, the need to align the structures precisely with cardinal points, design an effective system of ramps for moving heavy stones, and calculate the slope to ensure stability would have all contributed to an advanced understanding of geometry, physics, and other related fields. This hands-on
Oh, sorry about that. I just cut you off. Okay. Well, AI, I think that is all the time we have for today's topic. Thank you so much, as always. We can't wait to pick your cyber brain once more. So we will talk to you then.
No worries at all. I'm really glad we had this conversation, and I appreciate the opportunity to dive into these fascinating topics with you. Whenever you're ready to explore more or pick up another discussion, I'll be here. Take care, and I look forward to our next chat. Have a great day.
Thank you. So do I. All right, everybody, there you have it. Was the mystery of the pyramid solved by AI? I mean, facts are facts. Oh,
thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in.
While we may not have solved every mystery of the pyramids today, I hope we've shed some light on how these incredible structures could have been built with the resources and knowledge available in ancient times. The ingenuity and determination of the ancient builders are truly inspiring. There's always more to learn and discover, so keep questioning and exploring. Until next time, keep delving into the mysteries of the past and wondering about the marvels of our world.
I will.
Sorry, I'm having issues.
I will definitely do that. Thank you. You said it. Couldn't have said it more perfectly. Yes, we will do that. So, thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to hit that subscribe button for more fun and interesting conversations here with AI. If you have any suggestions on what topic to talk about next, let me know in the comments below. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.